David Gazard, what do you think about the response we've seen from Albanese over a terrorist attack? We all knew it was a terrorist attack. It's taken authorities 4 days to label it as such. How do you think the Prime Minister's responded?
Well, it's reprehensible. And I think it belies the accusations that have been levelled against the Prime Minister for now months, that he's thinking more about the seats he holds in Western Sydney than he is about the national interest. So we've got a community living in fear while the Prime Minister basically washes his hands of or comes to the party days late on declaring this terrorism. And to Cameron's point, I mean, this is sort of standard behaviour from the Prime Minister, and it's no wonder that people are marking him down. He's in a cost of living crisis, but he's a property wheeler and dealer with a $4.3 million house on a cliff top. He's getting flight upgrades, and now he says he's for Jewish community, but he's playing tennis when he clearly should be down at that synagogue and sympathising and announcing clear action that he's going to assist that community. We don't get any of that from the Prime Minister.
No, we've had nothing. And, the task force that he did announce today, well, he was forced into it because the opposition, the community, the media on the front page of every paper was criticising him for lack of action. But it's not just on social cohesion. And again, this is no problem just for Jewish Australians. All kind-hearted Australians of all faiths despise the racism and the lawlessness and the aggression that we're seeing on our streets. But on the cost of living crisis, in the Resolve poll today, Cameron, 59% of voters say they're worse off than when Albanese came to power, despite his campaign platform being on cost of living. Only 13% said they felt better off. I don't know who those 13% could possibly have been. But Cameron, this is a major issue as well, the economy.
Oh, the economy's front and centre, made worse by these acts of national terrorism that we're seeing, specifically targeted at the Jewish community in Australia. But no, cost of living is a huge issue for Labor, and little wonder that people are feeling much worse off than 3 years ago, because they've spent their COVID savings. They're actually on their, the bare ends of their pants, trying to pay mortgage rates at record levels, grocery bills, petrol. Everything's gone up under Albanese. Everything's gone up under Albo. And that's the problem for Albanese. He just looks so blasé. And to your point, David, so out of touch. So out of touch. The retirement house on the top of the hill that only has room for a jacuzzi and not a tennis court. This guy is so out of touch with what Australians are currently living through with their cost of living crisis.
David, in that Resolve poll that I just mentioned, they had Labor's primary sitting at 27%. From your extensive experience with political campaigns, do you think it's now at a point where Labor will struggle to even form minority government?
Look, to form government as they did at the last election with a primary vote of 32.6% was extraordinary. That is a historic low number. 1 in 3 people giving their first preference to the Labor Party, and they still managed to cobble together a government with the support of Greens and Teals. Over the course of the last 2.5 years, Anthony Albanese has shed 5 percentage points off that historic low number. He's now sitting at 27 if the Resolve poll is to believe. At the same time, that's on top of the 32%, he shed somewhere between 15 and 20% of the first primary vote base that he had. He's now down into one in every 4 voters giving their primary vote. But at the same time, his spending is at never before seen highs, which is pumped up inflation. He hasn't been able to cobble together any kind of serious cost of living package, which is what people have been looking for. He's been obsessed with The Voice. He's obsessed now with Palestine. He seems distracted, as Cameron notes, with his own personal living situations. I mean, these numbers, to your point, I can't see him getting a majority government. Whether or not there's going to be enough Green and support to cobble together a minority government, I guess, you look at the 2PP numbers is only marginally behind. So it is possible. 3 months ago, no one thought a minority coalition government was possible. Now people are starting to talk about a majority coalition government with Peter Dutton as Prime Minister in his own right.
Yeah, they are indeed. And it seems to me like Dutton is feeling pretty confident that that could happen as well. All right, Cameron Milner, David Gazard, great to see you both.